Welcome. Today we are looking at marketing research. This is a key topic in your marketing exams for SS3. Pay close attention. Let us begin. First, let me explain the meaning of marketing research. Marketing research is the systematic design, collection, analysis, and reporting of data relevant to a specific marketing situation. It is the function that links the consumer, customer, and public to the marketer through information. This information is used to identify and define marketing opportunities and problems. It is used to generate, refine, and evaluate marketing actions. It is used to monitor marketing performance. It is also used to improve understanding of marketing as a process. Marketing research is not guesswork. It is systematic. It follows a process. It uses scientific methods. Marketing research reduces uncertainty. It helps marketers make better decisions. Without research, marketers are guessing. With research, they make informed decisions. Now, let me explain the importance of marketing research. Marketing research is important for several reasons. First, it helps identify opportunities. Research can reveal unmet customer needs. It can identify new market segments. It can spot emerging trends. Second, it helps solve problems. When sales are falling, research can find the cause. When customers are unhappy, research can find out why. Third, it reduces risk. Launching a new product is risky. Research can test the concept before launch. It can estimate demand. It can identify potential problems. Fourth, it helps monitor performance. Research can track customer satisfaction. It can measure brand awareness. It can evaluate advertising effectiveness. Fifth, it helps understand customers. Research reveals what customers want, need, and value. It reveals how they behave. It reveals what they think. Sixth, it helps understand competitors. Research can gather information about competitors' products, prices, promotions, and distribution. Now let me explain the steps in the marketing research process. The marketing research process has several steps. Step 1 is defining the problem and research objectives. This is the most important step. If the problem is defined incorrectly, the research will be useless. The problem must be stated clearly. The research objectives must be specific. What information is needed? How will it be used? Step 2 is developing the research plan. This step outlines how the research will be conducted. It specifies the data needed. It specifies the research method. It specifies the sampling plan. It specifies the budget and timeline. Step 3 is collecting the data. Data can be primary or secondary. Primary data is collected specifically for the current research. Secondary data is data that already exists. It was collected for another purpose. Data collection methods include surveys, interviews, observation, and experiments. Step 4 is analyzing the data. The raw data must be processed and analyzed. Statistical techniques are used to summarize the data. Tables, charts, and graphs are created. The analyst looks for patterns and relationships. Step 5 is interpreting the findings. The analyst must interpret what the data means. They must draw conclusions. They must identify implications. Step 6 is reporting the findings. The researcher prepares a report. The report should be clear and actionable. It should answer the research objectives. It should include recommendations. The report is presented to management. Now let me explain the types of data. There are two types of data. Primary data is collected specifically for the current research. It is original data. Examples include survey responses, interview transcripts, and observation records. Primary data is expensive to collect. It takes time, but it is tailored to the research objectives. It is current and relevant. Secondary data is data that already exists. It was collected for another purpose. Examples include government statistics, industry reports, company records, and academic studies. Secondary data is cheap and quick to obtain, but it may not be exactly what is needed. It may be outdated. It may not be accurate. Marketers often start with secondary data. If secondary data provides the answers, they do not need primary data. If not, they collect primary data. Now let me explain the methods of collecting primary data. There are several methods. Surveys are the most common method. Surveys ask people questions. They can be conducted by mail, phone, email, online, or in person. Surveys are good for collecting descriptive data. They can reach many people. But response rates can be low. Questions must be carefully worded. Interviews are one-on-one conversations. They can be structured or unstructured. Interviews are good for exploring complex issues. They provide rich data, but they are time-consuming and expensive. They are not good for large samples. Focus groups are small groups of people brought together to discuss a topic. A moderator leads the discussion. Focus groups are good for exploring ideas. They generate insights, but they are not representative of the population. The results cannot be generalized. Observation involves watching people's behavior. It can be done in person or using cameras. Observation is good for recording what people actually do, not what they say they do, but it does not reveal why they do it. Experiments involve manipulating one variable to see its effect on another. Experiments are used to test cause and effect. For example, a company might change the price in one store and keep it the same in another. It then compares sales. Experiments are powerful but can be difficult to conduct. Now let me explain sampling. Sampling is the process of selecting a portion of the population to represent the whole population. It is usually impossible to study every member of the population, so researchers select a sample. The sample must be representative. A representative sample has the same characteristics as the population. There are two types of samples. Probability samples are selected by random methods. Every member of the population has a known chance of being selected. Probability samples allow statistical inference. Non-probability samples are selected by non-random methods. The researcher chooses participants based on convenience or judgment. Non-probability samples are cheaper and easier, but the results cannot be generalized. Common sampling methods include simple random sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling, convenience sampling, and quota sampling. Now, let me explain the challenges of marketing research. Marketing research faces several challenges. First, cost. Research can be expensive. Large surveys cost a lot. Focus groups and experiments also cost money. Small companies may not afford professional research. Second, time. Research takes time. Designing a study, collecting data, and analyzing results can take weeks or months. By the time the research is finished, the market may have changed. Third, accuracy. Respondents may not tell the truth. They may give socially desirable answers. They may not remember accurately. They may not answer at all. Fourth, interpretation. Data can be interpreted in different ways. Two analysts may draw different conclusions. Fifth, ethics. Researchers must protect respondents' privacy. They must not deceive respondents. They must not manipulate data. Sixth, applicability. Research findings may not apply to the whole market. A sample may not be representative. Now let me explain the relationship between marketing research and marketing decisions. Marketing research provides information, but it does not make decisions. Managers make decisions. They use research findings along with their judgment and experience. Research can tell a manager that customers prefer a certain feature, but the manager decides whether to add that feature. Research can tell a manager that a new product has a 70% chance of success, but the manager decides whether to launch it. Research reduces risk. It does not eliminate it. Managers must always use judgment. A common exam question asks you to define marketing research and explain its importance. Here is a sample answer. Marketing research is the systematic design, collection, analysis, and reporting of data relevant to a specific marketing situation. It is important because it helps identify opportunities, solve problems, reduce risk, monitor performance, understand customers, and understand competitors. Without research, marketers are guessing. With research, they make informed decisions. Another exam question asks you to explain the steps in the marketing research process. Here is your answer. The steps are defining the problem and research objectives, developing the research plan, collecting the data, analyzing the data, interpreting the findings, and reporting the findings. Each step must be completed carefully. Skipping steps leads to poor research. The problem must be defined correctly. The plan must be appropriate. Data must be collected accurately. Analysis must be rigorous. Interpretation must be logical. Reporting must be clear. Another exam question asks you to distinguish between primary and secondary data. Here is your answer. Primary data is collected specifically for the current research. It is original data. It is expensive and time-consuming to collect, but it is tailored to the research objectives. It is current and relevant. Secondary data already exists. It was collected for another purpose. It is cheap and quick to obtain, but it may not be exactly what is needed. It may be outdated. Marketers often start with secondary data and then collect primary data if needed. Let me give you a quick summary. Marketing research is systematic collection and analysis of data. It helps identify opportunities and solve problems. The research process has 6 steps: define the problem, develop the plan, collect data, analyze data, interpret findings, and report findings. Data can be primary or secondary. Primary data is collected for the current research. Secondary data already exists. Data collection methods include surveys, interviews, focus groups, observation, and experiments. Sampling selects a portion of the population to represent the whole. Challenges include cost, time, accuracy, interpretation, ethics, and applicability. Keep reviewing. Keep practicing. See you in the next topic.